Yeet. Keep. Hello everyone, and thanks for joining me for another modern quick match. Now nothing fancy here, just what the title says, and November is going to be packed with Death Shadow matches to hold you over until the next deep dive analysis comes out. Then it'll be a month for another deck. I'll start off with a quick deck tech, which is the same one from the last modern matchup analysis video. So if you've already seen it, or you just want to get right to the gameplay, I have included a timestamp in the description below. Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon, as it's a free way to support the channel. Based on metagame data, this is what the typical Death Shadow build looks like in today's world. When seeing these cards, it's important to remember that the deck does not want the game to go long, and it wants to do everything as efficiently as possible in the first few turns. Low CMCs, hyper efficiency is the name of the game here. Let's start with the namesake card Death Shadow. This deck is all about using your life total as a resource in exchange for being able to play the most power per mana spent in the format. And Shadow is the epitome of this. 1 mana for a creature that starts small and grows as the game goes on. It's not uncommon for this to be a 1 mana 10/10 after a few turns. Usually we go over the mana base last, but this deck utilizes fetch lands and shocks more aggressively than any other deck in the format, and it's a large part of the strategy. The idea is to use whatever resource possible, including lands, to get our life total under 13 to land a Shadow. We're looking at 10 fetches and 5 shocks, with a couple of basics as a necessity against Pass and Field of Ruins. In many ways, this deck mirrors traditional Jund strategies. That is, a turn 1 discard spell to make the opponent stumble, followed by a turn 2 or 3 landed threat that grows with the game and will just be bigger than theirs, and then use hyper efficient answers the rest of the way. That turn 1 discard spell of choice here is Thoughtseize, as it helps grow the Shadow and is the best discard spell in the format. Add in a couple of Inquisitions, and hitting a turn 1 discard spell is fairly consistent. Street Wraiths, Mishra Baubles, and Thought Scours provide us with more consistency through cantripping, with the Wraith doing double duty at helping out our Shadow grow. Thought Scour also has an important function in filling our graveyard because the only other real threat in the deck outside of Death Shadow is Gurmag Angler. Big Zombie Fish is a remarkable case study in just how powerful the delve mechanic is. Note to Wizards, if you print an otherwise vanilla 5/5 at common and it sees play in one of the most powerful formats in all of Magic, it's probably a sign that the mechanic on it is way too strong. This big guy does a great Shadow impression, often only costing a single black mana by himself. The truth of Modern is that a 5/5 is often just bigger than anything else the format is doing, which is why Tasigur, the Golden Fang, who used to be included in the deck, doesn't even see play anymore at 1 less power and even 1 less card to delve. So, once our threat is landed, the game plan is to interact a lot. Stubborn Denial becomes one of the best counters in the format with a threat down. Hitting creatures isn't often relevant because our landed threat is usually bigger and badder than whatever they're doing in the first 4 turns of the game. There are exceptions of course, but this becomes one of the best cards in the deck when turned on. Fatal Push, Dismembers, and a Bolt are the best at what they do for a single mana. Dismember also helps our Shadow game plan, and with Snapcasters in the mix, the fact that this deck doesn't want to go much above 3 mana in play, 1 mana removal is where we want to be. Cullen's Command is a great catch-all against problematic cards like Ensnaring Bridge and otherwise obscene artifacts in the format, and can also get our threats back in our hand, which is important because we essentially only run 8 real threats. We round out the main board with the big finisher, Temur Battle Rage. I'd argue that this is the card most opponents of Shadow decks are most afraid of. It always has to be accounted for because it is often just a one-shot that will end the game on the spot, doubling damage and trampling over any small early game blockers. So, to the sideboard, Rejections fit in nicely, as we like 1 mana answers, and this hits a variety of problems in the format like Tron, Eldrazi, Ensnaring Bridges, etc. Our Braids provide more artifact answers as well as small creature removal. Spell Snare is just great in this meta, as pretty much every deck has some amount of important 2-drops. Alpine Moon, costing 1 mana, is a big deal, and it hits against Tron and Valakut decks, with also some fringe other uses. An extra K command is great against artifact decks. Lily the Last Hope is fantastic at mowing down go-wide strategies, as chump blocking decks are actually fairly effective against us. Collective Brutality is just a burn all-star, and it's especially necessary since that matchup is one of the trickiest tightropes to walk in all of Modern. Disdainful Stroke is needed against big mana decks that are trying to do bigger and meaner things than us. Plague Engineer is one of my favorite cards from Modern Horizons, and I love that decks like this are utilizing it so much. It's a house against tribal strategies, and it's huge game against Thopter Foundry decks as well. Again, token decks can be very problematic for this deck. Finish it off with Seasoned Pyromancer. It's been getting some love as it gives us some extra game against control decks in particular. Alright, hello everyone. We are back playing some Grixis Death Shadow. And we are winning die rolls, and this hand looks fine. Lands, threat, and interaction. So we are definitely going to keep this. Opponent also keeps 7. So we'll start with a Bloodstained Mire and pass it over. Steam Vents for our opponent. Serum Visions. Could be Storm. 2 cards on top doesn't sound very good. Well, we are going to have to do the Death Shadowy thing here and try to get our life totals low to stick our threat. We will Polluted Delta. We'll see what we're working with here. Thought Scour. Not really what we want to be doing, so I'm going to fetch that away. Get a Steam Vents. And pass the turn. Now the hope is they play like a Baral, Spirebluff Canal, or an Electromancer. Alright, there's the Baral. And we've got the answer, which is great. Bolt Baral. And a push for a backup. Okay, now we're talking. Okay, so the question is, if we go down to 11 here, get our Shadow down, they could Grape Shot us, but I think the odds of that aren't great. So we are going to get our Watery Grave, pay the life, Shadow down with a lot of backup. And now I'm feeling pretty good about this. We do need to close out the game quick because Storm does just have a tendency to win on the spot. All right, they are passing. Ooh, and Battle Rage will close it out really quick. Okay, so we do want to shock ourselves again. We'll go to combat. $14. Okay, pass the turn. Ops, sure. Now Stubborn's on line. This is a very good position, but we do still have to be very careful. Shocks themselves. That means Gifts Ungiven is coming, which is great because Stubborn will take care of that, and that one doesn't really help. But we'll play it. Pass it, or attack first is probably the right thing to do. Silly, silly. Okay, Shadow down. Now here comes the Gifts, which is an instant. Yeah, we will counter that. Okay. Come on, survive, survive, survive. Baral, okay. They get one shot off of this. Now we can Fatal Push. Remand. So whenever it is countered. So the question is, if we counter this, he'll be stuck on 3 red mana and they don't get a redraw. Or we let the remand happen, they get a card, 3 red mana, with a Baral alive. They're actually drawing 2 cards off this remand. I think we do have to Stubborn this. Okay, push happens. He's on 3 red mana. What can he do with it? What can our opponent do? He or she, sorry. Grape Shot has to kill the Shadow. Wait, did our opponent go all at us? No, I was about to say. Okay, well, wow, that's just a incredibly lucky top deck. We will chalk that one up to the Magic Gods. Thank you, Magic Gods. Very, very lucky. Sleight of Hand. Okay. Opt. Okay. Serum Vision's okay. Steam Vents in. Okay, so they're not even representing Remand. Not that it would matter because we'd still get to play it. Okay, well, let's go to combat. Teamer Battle Rage. Wow, we did it. Okay, had to get lucky with the top deck Shadow, but man, they played it right. They played it very well. They were able to deal with the threat we had and represented. And I think we handled that situation with the remand correctly. We just couldn't let them draw 2 cards and let their Baral live. So I think that was right. Okay, good game, opponent. On to game 2. Okay, so against the Storm, we want more removal and discard. We want all the discard. A little bit of a thought to Plague Engineer for Goblins if they do run empties, but I don't think that's where we're going to be. Spell Snare seems fantastic, especially on the draw. And then Disdainful Stroke for Gifts Ungiven and Past in Flames. We'll go down the Baubles. We'll go down maybe just a couple Street Wraiths. We really do want every little bit of interaction we can get. Let's try like that. Okay, game 2 on the draw. Grixis Shadow versus Storm. Okay, this hand is actually pretty nice, besides the fact that we don't have a threat. But we do have discard spell into removal for their Baral or Electromancer, and then a Disdainful Stroke for the big gun. So yeah, I think we're going to keep this. It's not a great keep, but I think the interaction is really important here. So, okay, lots of interaction. So we're going to start by cycling Street Wraith. And there's our threat. Okay, now this hand feels much better. We are going to start by ripping off an Inquisition. Okay, Aria. Ooh. I think because Collective Brutality can't hit that, that is going to have to be our target, unfortunately, because that is a card that we just can't deal with, and it just wrecks any landed Death Shadows. So I would love to take this Pieces of the Puzzle, but yeah, I think it's got to be Aria. Okay. One bullet dodged. Aria Flame is a monster card against us. Spire Bluff Canal. Zombie Fish. So, Empty the Warrens, Pieces, Manamorphose. Man, Empty is annoying, but we do have a Disdainful Stroke for it. Maybe we just Brutality here and get Pieces. I would normally like to keep the Collective for an Electromancer if possible, but we have the Dismember backup, so I think that's what we're doing. So we're going to have them reveal their hand, and we're going to take this Pieces of the Puzzle and see what they can do with an Empty the Warrens and a Manamorphose. Spire Bluff Canal. Passing. Oi, we do need to land a threat, though. Well, all we can do is pass. Maybe I should have just dumped something to Brutality just to get something in the yard. No, that doesn't feel right for no real reason. Okay, Ritual. Manamorphose, sure. Okay, so this is Empty the Warrens here. Bolt, sure. And an Empty. Okay, this is a lot of little dudes coming. So part of me actually just wants to Disdainful Stroke one of these Empties. Yeah, maybe this was a good reason to bring in Plague Engineer. Maybe I should have taken the Empty the Warrens with that Collective Brutality. Let me know. That's probably what I should have been doing. Yeah, with 0 cards in their hands, we'll get rid of one of them. Okay, so there's the little goblin army. Okay, the good news here is that Angler will be able to block forever. So let's get our Angler out now. Thought Scour ourselves. Delta. Get our, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so they'll be able to deal 7 next turn to us. Yeah, we'll pass the turn. We will block. Sleight of hand. So, if we block 2 of them next turn, we still die. So I don't think we can actually crack this Delta. Yeah, I don't think we can crack this Delta. Stinger Visions, sure. Manamorphose, and Grape Shot. Yep, that'll do it. Good game. All right, let's go to game 2. We're going to bring these Plague Engineers now. Get rid of the Street Wraiths and try it like that. Okay, we will play first. Thank you very much. And again, this is the problem with this hand is there's no threat, but I think with the amount of answers, we are going to keep it. Okay, we're just going to put in our Watery Grave, untap, or tap. Sleight of hand, sure. Okay, now we get a better look with this Thoughtseize. Okay, we have an answer for Past in Flames on 1 land. So let's just take the scariest threat. Then we can deal with Pieces and Past later. We've got Disdainful Stroke and Stubborn for those. Let's do that. Steam Vents, intapped. Crack this, get a Steam Vents. Alright, well, we are now waiting for a threat, which isn't really what we want to be doing. Good news is we have answers for days. All the interaction, no threat. Alright, they're missing land drops too. Well, alright, we got our land drops now. Now we need a threat. We are threat or bust. Shivan Reef. Pyretic Ritual. Desperate Ritual. Spliced. Okay. Desperate Ritual. Cast. Past in Flames. So I think if we Disdainful Stroke this, and they won't be able to flash it back. Pieces of the Puzzle. Watery Grave there. Okay, so we are going to get a better look at their hand now. Echoing Truth, Bolt, Visions. Well, let's just keep them off of Digging Deeper. All right, Echoing Truth and Lightning Bolt. And then Past in Flames costs 5 out of the yard. Land for turn. Come on, we need a threat. That's not a threat. Okay, well, we're just doing this forever, apparently. Brawl. Okay, we do have an answer for that. Alright, bounces the Brawl. Scalding Tarn. Okay, well, we still got answers. So Lightning Bolt, Brawl, and an unknown in hand. Pieces, that is annoying. Okay, so what do they send Brawl, gifts to the yard. I'd like to Stubborn Denial that, but we really need to save it for the Past in Flames coming. Alright, so Bolt, Manamorphose, Island. Come on, Threat. Oh, deck. This is terrible. Well. Alright, well there's our threat. We will play him. Alright, pass the turn. I think we needed that exact draw right there. Well, we will get him out of bolt range. With our one remaining Shockland. No, we had two. We had two Blood Crypts. Okay, Lightning Bolt down. We know of Manamorphose, Brawl. Okay, well, this is our chance to kill Brawl. So we will use that. Manamorphose, sure. Opt, okay. Brawl down. Okay, so one card in hand. If we make him discard the card, deal 2 to ourselves, 7. The next turn down to 4. Oh, it's not quite enough. So we go down to 7. Opponent has no cards in hand. Bolt ourselves down to 4. Shadow's a 9/9. Oh, we're not quite there. Okay, well, I think we're just going to keep going here as we need to. All right. Go to combat. Get in with our Shadow. Island down, pass. Shivan Reef. Passing. Okay, now we can do it. So we can get ourselves down to 7. Make them discard whatever they have. Past in Flames is sorcery. So I think we're going to do that. So 7 and then down to 4. Gets our Shadow to a 9/9. Yeah, we're going to do it. You discard a card. We take 2. Opponent discards a. Bolt to the Shadow doesn't do it. 3 damage on it. We'll deal 2 damage to ourselves. It'll grow even more. That's okay. Yeah, and now we Delta. Crack it. Get our Blood Crypt. Make him a 9/9. Go to combat. Battle Rage. Wow, that was a great game. Great win. Good games, opponent. That was excellent versus Storm.